Alright guys, another day and we are back for some more championship transfer rumours. Plenty to talk through in today's video. Obviously we're coming off the back of another jam-packed day in the championship yesterday as well. If you went to any game yesterday, make sure to drop your thoughts on that as well in the comments down below. We've still got a couple more games to come this game week in the championship as well. But the focus of today's video will be on the transfer speculation. Let's start out with some done deals. Bristol City defender Rob Atkinson has joined Portsmouth on loan for the remainder of the season. Obviously someone who's really suffered with a big injury in recent times. He suffered that ACL injury back in February 2023. Hopefully he'll get a bit more game time at Portsmouth and he can properly put that injury behind him, because there's definitely a really good championship defender in there. Plymouth have signed Michael Baidoo for a club record fee. The Ghanaian international comes over from Elfsborg in Sweden. He's a 25-year-old attacking midfielder with a decent eye for goal, and yeah, Plymouth have really pushed the boat out to get his signature, it would seem. Obviously Plymouth recently received quite a bit of cash for Lewis Gibson going to Preston North End, and they've immediately reinvested that back into the squad here. Young Preston North End forward Leighton Stewart is heading out on loan for the second half of the season. He's joined Swiss side FC Thun for the remainder of the campaign. Not really had that much game time over these last 2 years. Hopefully he gets a bit more of that during this loan spell. But those are some of the done deals that have gone through in the championship over these past few days. Now without any further ado, let's jump into the rumours. Now over the past few months, Tottenham have been pondering a move for Burnley goalkeeper James Trafford. However, they've since decided to go in a different direction, and they'll be signing Slavia Prague's Antonin Kaninski in the January window, which puts an end to their pursuit of Trafford for the time being. Obviously with Trafford's age and pedigree, he's always going to be a goalkeeper that's going to attract that Premier League interest. Spurs have been sniffing around him in recent months, but with the news they're now going in for Kinski instead, Trafford to Spurs seems like a bit of a dead link now. We've had confirmation that Southampton are prepared to let Ben Brereton Diaz leave the club this January. The Chilean forward hasn't really featured that much for the Saints in the Premier League this season. He's only started in 4 Premier League matches and in total has played just 448 minutes of Premier League football. He's yet to score or assist for Southampton in the league this season. Now we have previously spoken about Sheffield United's interest in the forward. Obviously previously had a loan spell at Bramall Lane, but the Blades aren't alone in their interest of the Chilean international. Multiple championship clubs have already inquired about his availability this January, and it does seem likely that quite a few top clubs will be on the hunt for the 25-year-old. Another area of the squad that Sheffield United are looking to bolster up in the January window is central midfield, with some of the injuries they've currently got in that position, and according to the latest reports, Leicester City's Hamza Choudhury is a player of interest for Sheffield United. Obviously someone who got a promotion on his CV with Leicester City in the Championship last season. He's found opportunities fairly hard to come by in the Premier League this season though, only starting once for the Foxes in the Premier League and only playing a total of 130 minutes up until this point. You definitely see why there would be a bit of interest there in Choudhury, who is fairly versatile, can play a couple of different positions as well. And what does the future hold for Plymouth forward Ryan Hardy, because there's plenty of League One interest in the forward right now, with both Wrexham and Huddersfield Town interested in the forward. Now he's under contract at Home Park until 2026, and it's believed he's got a release clause in his contract worth around about £2 million. Now what has added a bit of fuel to the fire is the fact that Hardy wasn't involved in Plymouth's most recent matchday squad that faced Stoke City over the weekend. Now Hardy himself hasn't had maybe the best of seasons so far, he's only scored once in the Championship, but definitely someone who knows how to hit the back of the net, especially in League One. You could see why clubs like Wrexham and Huddersfield would be interested. Another Championship forward that Wrexham are considering signing is Luton Town's Cauley Woodrow. This one would be another interesting option for the League One high flyers. Woodrow hasn't really featured that prominently for Luton up until this point. Of the 12 appearances he's made in the Championship, 11 of those have come from the bench. 30 years old now, and I think he's probably quite a realistic target for a club like Wrexham, and obviously what they're looking to do at the moment. They're clearly looking to add a lot of firepower in this January window. He's someone who's been looked at this point in time. Wolves have been tracking Millwall defender Japhet Tanganga, and I think we all knew when Millwall signed the former Spurs player on a permanent basis, we knew that this one was going to be a good fit. He'd done really well at Millwall last season while on loan, and the club find themselves in an interesting position now where they could potentially flip him for a quick profit if Wolves do come in with an official offer. But if they were to lose him at this stage, that would weaken their backline quite considerably. Millwall fans, what do you think his market value is right now? Another rumour that involves Millwall is the future of Romain Esse. Now, Crystal Palace have been heavily linked with the Millwall playmaker. They've been sniffing around for quite a few weeks now. However, going off the latest reports, it seems like Crystal Palace are prepared to wait until the summer transfer window until they go in with a proper approach, and that they're willing to let him stay at Millwall for the time being. Now, obviously, that is a boost for Millwall if he does stay until the end of the season. Esse has been one of their most entertaining players so far this season. Still just 19 years old as well, got so much potential, but it does feel like with how many clubs are definitely going to be interested in him in the summer, I see it hard for Millwall to keep Esse going into next season with all the Premier League clubs that will no doubt be knocking on their door. Van der Vaart at Coventry is being eyed up by Galatasaray. This one will be quite an interesting move for the Dutch fullback. Now, I do think at his best, he is one of the best wing backs in the Championship. I don't think he's quite hit those levels this season like you could probably argue for a lot of Coventry players. He did have a good game over the weekend, to be fair, against Norwich. Obviously found the back of the net in that game. The good news for Coventry is that he is under contract until 2027, and so if they do decide to cash in, they're in quite a good position to hold out for a decent transfer fee. But there's no denying Galatasaray are a massive club and would be quite a pull for most Championship players. Another player that could be heading for the exit door at Coventry is Ben Sheff, with Leeds United reportedly eyeing up the Coventry City midfielder. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know how much of a fan I am of Ben Sheff. I think at his best, he is one of the best holding midfielders in the Championship. But as Coventry have struggled to find top gear this season, you know, they're not challenging for a spot in the top 6 like the vast majority of us thought they would be at the start of the season. It is an interesting one from the outside looking in and thinking about how many of their top assets may potentially be poached away from them in this January window. Sheff is someone who has quite a few admirers actually. In the summer, I remember there being interest there, and there continues to be links with him now going into this January window. Coventry fans, what do you value Ben Sheff at right now? And Leeds fans, is this a deal that you yourselves would be pushing for? Let me know down below. Leeds United have also been in talks with Nottingham Forest regarding a deal for Andrew Omobamidele, who's not really featured that much for Forest this season. Obviously a player that Daniel Farke will know fairly well from his time at Norwich City previously. Now, according to the latest reports, this one would be a loan deal with the obligation to buy at the end of the season, with Nottingham Forest supposedly hoping to raise around £10 million from his sale. I've also seen Sheffield United linked, but it does seem Leeds are more keen on the deal than the Blades are. Norwich City don't want to waste much time in this January window. They're currently in negotiations with Slavia Prague for Matej Jurasek, who is a Czech Republic international. Fairly dynamic, versatile winger who can play off either side. So far this season, he's scored twice and has got 5 assists to his name. He's 21 years old, and it does appear as if there would be a fair bit of money involved in this one if Norwich do manage to get a deal over the line. He's definitely one to keep your eye on over these next few days. Once again, not the news that Stoke City fans want to hear, but Tom Cannon is continuing to be linked with plenty of Championship clubs. Last time we were speaking about Sheffield United and their interest in the Leicester City forward. Well, it's since come out that the likes of Sheffield Wednesday and Luton Town are also interested in a permanent deal for Cannon, who's obviously currently on loan with Stoke. He's done really well in the first half of the season, scored 9 goals and got an assist. He's Stoke's top scorer up until this point, but Leicester do have the option to recall him from that loan spell should they choose, and then sell him elsewhere on a permanent basis. So yeah, Sheffield Wednesday and Luton both supposedly keen, along with Sheffield United, who we spoke about last time. Both Swansea City and Preston North End have been linked with a move for Wycombe defender Joe Lowe, who is out of contract at Wycombe at the end of the season. Obviously Wycombe have done really well in League One this year. They're in the midst of the promotion hunt right now. I'm sure they won't want to lose him, but with his contract set to expire, the Championship club could potentially land him for a bit of a cut price. Wycombe are said to value him at around about 750k. A central defender at a good age. He's only 22 years old. Got an eye for goal as well. He scored 4 goals in League One this season. He's definitely one to keep your eye on given his contract situation. Coventry are looking to strengthen their defensive options in January, and they're now considering a move for Crystal Palace defender Rob Holding, looking to bring him on loan for the remainder of the season. Now, Holding is someone who's been really highly rated in the past, obviously from his Arsenal days. Since moving to Crystal Palace, hasn't played a lot of football over these last 18 or so months, and a loan spell in the Championship probably makes sense for him at this stage. So him, Coventry, is a move I could see happening. And another forgotten Crystal Palace star who could be heading out on loan to the Championship is Jeffrey Slupp, with Blackburn Rovers supposedly interested in a loan deal for the 32-year-old. Now, he has featured 11 times in the Premier League for Crystal Palace this season, but all 11 of those appearances came off the bench, and they only amount to 94 minutes of Premier League football. So not really been in the frame for Palace this season. A loan move seems fairly likely for January, given that lack of game time. Will be interesting to see if Blackburn do follow through on that interest. Well, guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and if you've seen any other rumours going on, make sure to let me know about them in the comments down below. Other than that though, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.